And now Joe's going to speak a little bit to the idea of the science behind the mindfulness.
So there's been, in the past few years, there's been a lot of research into mindful meditation, really to see what the benefits are. Because let's say 5 to 10 years ago, meditation was kind of a fringy type of thing, and people didn't really know what people were getting out of it. So they started to do all kinds of research on the brain, and basically what they found is through mindful and meditation is that you can learn to train your brain. The same way that when you do physical exercise, you're training your body, or when yoga we talk about the poses to help our body, you can train your mind or your brain to have different thoughts. And the simplest way I can explain it is if you're always anxious and you're stressed and you're working long hours, and those are the kinds of things that your brain is dealing with. It's stressful, difficult kinds of things. And so your brain literally structures itself that way. What you do in meditation with mindfulness is you start to learn different characteristics: compassion, gratitude, happiness, peacefulness, those kinds of things. When your brain is thinking those things, it's firing different neurons. And so literally you build that up through your practice and you change your brain. And so the one saying is fake it till you make it. In meditation we say fake it till you think it. So your thoughts do become what you are. And what is cool, let's say, about mindfulness is that it has the research to back it up. Sujantra knows about the different types of techniques that they use to get the research, but it's coming out that it's really clear that it helps you become a better person and a better executive, actually. A lot of the stuff that's gone on with mindfulness is in the Bay Area because of business. Because what they're finding is that it is improving the business world. Because people are able to focus more and think more clearly and be more relaxed.
In the 70s, when they were researching meditation, they would look for the changes, the effects of meditation on the body and the mind through things like your heart rate and the skin conductivity, things like that, stress levels. But now what they're doing with the MRI machines is they're having people, and the interesting thing is they see changes whether someone's been meditating one day or 20 years. And what they'll do is they'll teach someone some techniques, and then when the person gets into that empathetic state of mind or that concentrated state of mind, one technique they'll do is they'll then push a button which floods the chemicals into their brain. Then they'll put them in the MRI machine, and they'll be able to see exactly what changes are taking place in the brain at that moment when they're hitting that mindfulness zone. And so then they're seeing actual changes in the brain structure and in the gray matter, the growth of gray matter in areas of concentration or empathy. And they're seeing that the reality of what's called neuroplasticity, which is the ability of the brain to actually grow and change as we train it. And so, as Joe's saying, the mindfulness is really the training of our brain to operate at a higher frequency, at a higher level of creativity and dealing with stress. And what we're going to do is we're going to send along to Craig, and he'll be able to send it to all of you guys, is some articles about mindfulness and the use of mindfulness in the corporate structure and also in the science behind it. Okay, so now with the mindfulness, I think there's two general areas where it's going to be able to help you. It's going to be able to help you in the realm of your creativity, your ability to visualize and project ahead. So much of business, and especially, I have a sense of what you guys are going through because of ourselves in opening the yoga studio. And in opening the yoga studio, as you know, so much of it is a mental exercise. You have to internalize and think, okay, who's my customer out there? What are they going through? What's it like for my customer to walk into a yoga studio for the first time? What's going on inside them emotionally? What fears are they dealing with? And so the ability to really go into your customer's mind, or to project yourself into a marketplace. So another thing, again, you guys are dealing with is the future. So you're working with technologies that you're trying to use current technology and project ahead into what are the needs people, what needs are people going to have for our technology, or how can you use this technology to help people? And so in one sense, you really have to project yourself into the future, into people's lives in the future, what they're going through. And so in this sense, the mindfulness and meditation is extremely helpful because you're able to put yourself into a really calm state of awareness, and that frees your mind. And one of the things Einstein used was thought experiments. Not just theoretically what's an electron going through, but he would actually try to put himself of the experience of the electron. So that ability to shift awareness. And so the mindfulness and the meditation will help you with your creativity, your ability to project yourself forward into your customers' minds and into the future. The other huge area, which Joe's going to speak to, is dealing with stress. And a really significant thing is what's called founder's depression. So I'll let Joe speak to those.
Yeah. Are you all aware of the term founder's depression?
Yeah, I think I've used it a few times.
Yeah.
In classes.
Okay, it's pretty clear cut. It's all you guys, and it's all of us who've started businesses. I've started businesses myself, and anybody is prone to depression. But if you look at the statistics in the general population, it's about 7% of the people will have depression at any point in time in their life. If you look at founders of companies, that number rises to 30%. So 30%. Sorry?
The blogs by Brad Feld, who talks from Foundry Booth. He's talked extensively about depression and founder's depression and having to accept the ways of dealing with it. It's a profound effect on them.
Yeah, it's 30% is a high number. And so it's no wonder because of all the pressures that everybody's under. I mean, you want to be successful. You want to be successful for yourself, but you want to be successful for your family, for your friends. There's payroll you have to meet. There's financing issues. You're hit from all different angles all the time. And then the other piece to that is that there's really, in the end, not many people you can talk to about it. So what happens is you end up, it's all inside. It keeps bottled up, and you just end up dealing with it yourself. And that's what leads to the depression. What mindfulness has shown, again, through research, because there are programs that use stress reduction, mindfulness, to reduce the stress and therefore reduce the depression. So it does have a direct impact on depression as well as stress, anxiety, and things like that.
What about, can you speak at all to the culture? How does meditation in the workplace, it's something we're looking into. We actually have our third conference room, we've turned into a Zen room.
Yep.
Dim lights and incense, and I can tell Sujantra's smiling already because he saw our laptops and there was no Zen about it. But maybe, I know you do a lot with corporate, but can you give us an idea of kind of how that's culture and what, the importance of culture in a business?
So I think one of the important things we do at the yoga studio is because we're a yoga studio, we try as much as possible to integrate that culture of yoga, of mindfulness and meditation into the business side. So obviously, as a yoga studio, we're projecting the yoga as our service, but then the challenge is how do we integrate that into our culture behind the scenes? And so the idea, we have our yoga rooms where people can go do yoga and relax. You've created the Zen room, so I think creating a specific physical place in your culture where you honor that. So as a business, if you give importance, if you give some square footage to that, then your employees are going to realize that that's important to you, and so it gives value to the practice. Then the other thing we do at meetings, we start meetings either with a few moments of silence or chanting Om, A-U-M, which is one of the ancient mantras. Chanting Om 4 or 5 times to start the meeting, and just spending that 20 or 30 seconds with everyone chanting or in silence, it really helps to align things. And it's amazing how much stress you can let go of, as you guys are about to experience when we go through our exercises, how much stress you can let go of just in 2 or 3 minutes. And so if you put some type of mindfulness, another thing is there's beautiful Tibetan bowls that you stir like this, and it creates that beautiful high-pitched sound. And so even doing that for 1 minute before you start the meeting. So if you do something at the start of each meeting that creates that energy and that vibration, you can wipe away so many of the obstacles that are going on and let go of stress.
And I think also, because you're all leaders, setting the tone of the culture needs to come from you all. If the top person is talking about meditation, talking about mindfulness, saying that I do it, these are the benefits, this will help you be a better person and a better professional, those kinds of things, planting those seeds, and people watch that and they respond to that. So because there's a lot of clouds around meditation and yoga still to this day. And so to the extent that you as leaders and founders can kind of push that away and say, look, I think this is good stuff, and I believe in it, and I do it, people will follow.